Hello, hello, everybody. So, welcome to School of Vedic Astrology. We're going to continue the series of Nakshatras remastered, and we have arrived at Pushya Nakshatra. Actually, I want to maybe do the Nakshatras in pairs because we have certain pairs. And last time we did Uttarashada, Purvashada. So, Pushya and Punarvasu are also considered one pair. So, let me just do these videos first. So, arriving at Pushya Nakshatra, we see it over here. The deity is the famous Bṛhaspati. Of course, Jupiter's exaltation point. The symbol is a cow's udder. So it is pretty much a nakshatra of nourishment, like it is said here. And the Shakti is the Brahma Varchava Shakti, and we're going to see this right here. So it is the power to harness creative spiritual energy. So first of all, Pusha, it is in the heart of Cancer, and this is related to the fourth house, to mother, to nourishment, to the heart. So we are here in the center of well-being, I could say. But there is a whole lot more to Pusha Nakshatra because actually the caste is Kshatriya. So we see a lot of kings and leaders also with this nakshatra. So over here, from 3 degrees Cancer to 16 degrees Cancer, the motivation is Dharma, righteousness. So the dosha is Pitta. So we have caste Kshatriya, the dosha Pitta. So you'll see quite a few complications also with this nakshatra being such a star of nourishment. So the Gana is Deva. Quality is the light and the swift. So and the Guna is also Tamas. Yoni, male goat, activity passive, and the element is water. For the Padas here, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio. So Sun is doing well here. Virgo, Mercury is exalted and in its own house. Libra, Saturn exalted, Venus in own house. Scorpio here, Ketu is exalted. And Moon becomes debilitated in the fourth pada. So it's quite... actually, the soft quality of the moon is very suitable for this nakshatra, but kind of gets a bit tricky here in the Scorpio pada, and we see that there is can be quite some complications here when it comes to relationships and marriage, and I would say then the Libra part. So these later two padas can be quite severe also. It has a quite severe side, Pusha Nakshatra. So over here we have Theta and Eta Canceri. These are these two stars right to the Prasepe star group here in the heart of the two eyes of Cancer here. So this is pretty much the heart of Cancer, and this is then Pusha Nakshatra referred to these two stars. The ancient seers gave lots of importance to these stars. So we can do some extra research on this and actually dive deep in these locations astronomically. So that is quite interesting. So, okay, the Sanskrit. The Sanskrit is to nourish, to grow, to enhance, to prosper, preserve, multiply, strengthen. We also see it, there's lots of growth when a mother is breastfeeding a baby. So there's lots of growth towards the baby. And then also the deity Bṛhaspati, and the symbol is a cow's udder. Now, Bṛhaspati is the Karka of education and children. He's also the high priest of the gods. Hence, when focal planets are placed here, the native could have a natural command of languages and can be an excellent educator, teacher, or a mentor, or a parent. They may be involved either directly or indirectly with the building or creation of a school system. So we see people with these prominent placements also be very active as educators, nurses, and so on. Yeah. So the symbol of this nakshatra is a cow's udder, which is associated with nourishment and nurturing. This constellation is strong in charts of people who are into the hospitality industry, restaurant business, people involved with taking care of people like nurses, caregivers at old age homes, supporting sick and dying. So Pushya is all about nourishment. It's all about taking care of people, taking care of children, taking care of friends and family. So this nakshatra is associated with nourishment. It is often observed that the natives have a particular interest in gardening, cooking food, and are associated with professions like professional chefs, bakers, and pastry makers. So Pushya natives also enjoy having a nourishing and hearty meal. So hearty. So over here, a nice example actually, because this caste, it is Kshatriya. So Gordon Ramsay here is a famous cook based in the UK, and he has Jupiter in its own exaltation point here in Pushya Nakshatra as the seventh and the 10th lord also. So this is quite interesting. I think in his Navamsha part, also in the second house, which represents food intake, so he's kind of a well-known chef, is Rahu and Mars in the Navamsha in the second house. So this is quite notable. So Rahu in Bharani, okay, people with Rahu in Aries, in Bharani, Kritika, they quite successful, I would say. I did some charts of people with Rahu in the 11th house, and they have very big companies making tens of thousands of dollars in euros and pounds every month, like 50, 60, towards the 100,000 pounds a month. So these are quite rich and wealthy people. So this nakshatra can actually also induce the energy of becoming wealthy, for sure. So this is a very nice example. We're not going to dive too much in it. We see here 3 planets in Vishaka and in the 5th house. So quite a determined chef. His Mars here in Leo and Purva Palguni in the house of communication. So quite interesting chart to study. Oh yeah, and then Muammar Gaddafi. When it comes to nourishment, you see the caste is Kshatriya. His security group was it was like a few hundred of ladies working in his most inner circles as his security, because this nourishment, this loyalty is seen in this. So there's a quite nice example of a Pushya native, and I think I did his chart. You see, he has Mars in Pushya in the 1st house as the 10th lord also, and the 5th lord with a Raja Yoga. So again, this person was quite wealthy. Also, we have Saturn and Sun here, in Saturn in Rohini. So he was a ruler of the dry lands. Yeah? Saturn in Rohini kind of takes away the juice. So he was quite into the oil industry, if I'm not wrong. But Saturn in Rohini takes away the juice, and it represents drought. So he was a ruler of dry land here, which is quite, and his Venus in Bharani, so quite extreme. Moon in Uttara Bhadrapada is Rahu, and also in Leo here. So quite, this Kshatriya nature is much seen in Pushya natives. So you don't just think that, oh, this soft side, this nourishing baby side, because mothers and educators have to be quite strict at times to teach young, energetic children, especially if they are in their monkey years. It's quite difficult to regulate them. So you have to have that kshatriya nature to nourish, teach, and take care of others, because it's not easy at times. Okay, so the general concept here is then, the story of Bṛhaspati is Jupiter's exaltation point. So the story of Bṛhaspati is pretty much, we see this here, is this marriage trauma, this disruption of marriage due to various external forces that impact the relationship, be they health related, travel related, relocation related, family related, etc. Occasionally, a third party seduces the spouse. That is because Bṛhaspati's wife Tara. Well, you could say Bṛhaspati, he's the high priest of the gods. He's a very busy man, especially when they are at war with the enemies, the so-called demons in the higher planetary systems. So he's quite occupied at times doing all the rituals for the demigods who are at war. Um, so he's quite occupied high priest. So his wife at some point was seduced by Soma, the moon god, and they had a child together. She was then pregnant of Mercury. So that's why in this part of the sky that Bṛhaspati rules, we see that occasionally, quite often actually, that third party seduces the spouse and that there is a disruption of marriage. And then there is marriage trauma. So this is maybe not a perfect placement for marriage. However, Sita and Ram got married when Moon was transiting Pusha. So it kind of contradicts each other. So we have to obviously look at other factors in the chart, but this is kind of a general concept that we observe. So eventually you see also Bṛhaspati with Tara. This became a whole situation amongst the gods. They raised Mercury. So you see people raising other people's children when there are afflicted planets in this nakshatra. Yeah, for sure. Especially natural malefic planets like Rahu, you would say, or a weak Saturn. And so on. When Mars is strong, it's kind of also this warrior spirit, this passion is there. So mm, this is a general concept. So, but on the good side, we have this Guru Pusha Yoga, and it's very good because the symbol is Gauss Other, and it gives nourishment. So the Guru Pusha Yoga is when Moon is transiting on Thursday, when it's Jupiter's day. It forms Guru Pusha Yoga, and it's very good for administering medicines. And then we have Ravi Guru Pusha Amrita Yoga. This is then when Moon is transiting in Pushya Nakshatra on a Sunday, and many people shopping for weddings, shopping for luxury items nowadays, but it's quite related to medical astrology. So on these days, it's quite good to take medicine in general when you are ill, or helping others by administering medicines when they are ill. So malefics, like a weak Saturn, would cause nutrition shortages in the body. Also, like in the fifth house, second house, I mean, because that's also the house of food intake. And in general, also these people, because it is Bṛhaspati, it is searching for knowledge. It is these people intend to do pilgrimages in once or more in their lifetime. So and then the shadow side here, of course, the story of Bṛhaspati and Shani. Exploiting or being exploited. So there's another story that is related to Bṛhaspati, obviously, because he's the deity of this nakshatra. So it's good to get a good background of the deity. this is actually the first thing that you want to do. It's trying to go through the Vedas and get a background of the deity that rules the nakshatra, because we're dealing with 27 parts instead of 12 solar signs. We're dealing with 27 lunar signs, which have 4 padas each, which then becomes the Navamsa positions, and we have then the Navamsa positions on top of this, so it can get quite intricate, interesting. So that's what you want to do, is then to study the god that rules that nakshatra. So in this case, Bṛhaspati had another famous story with Shani, because Shani wanted to learn śāstra from Bṛhaspati as the teacher, and he said that in order to teach you śāstra, you have to take a human form. So Saturn actually did this in this Purana. He actually took a human form, came to the earth, but he forgot to give the dakshina to Bṛhaspati, and he just oh yeah, I would say a bit coldly and harshly told him, yes, this teaching will not proceed. So this kind of became a big thing, but that's where we see a little bit the shadow side of Jupiter when it comes to abundance part, because Jupiter is also is the significator of the ninth house, and means also this justice system. So it's quite cold, philosophical. This is the maybe a shadow side of Jupiter, where he can be very tricky or selfless, no, selfish. And Venus, on the other hand, is very much pleasure seeking. So Venus at times in the chart can be much more giving abundance than Jupiter location. So exploiting or being exploited. So especially when moon transits this nakshatra, and there's some afflictions on the moon, I would say, or this soft energy, because moon is kind of the receiving energy. So these people, the soft energy can be exploited or taking. And when it's more an aggressive energy, then these people can take others for granted easily. And when the soft energy is there, is being taken for granted by others, and then blaming others or being blamed for everything by others. So this is kind of the shadow side of Pusha. So yeah, and I have seen this through the people's chart, where they complain that at some points, especially when dashas activate or transits go over the birth chart, that these people complain that they are kind of doing so much good for others, and then in the end just being blamed for everything. So they really be taken granted for and being blamed after for whatever is going wrong. So places and work. So there's of course childcare, homes, nurturing homes, hospitality industry, spas and resorts. See lots of new age gurus and teachers, rulers and kings, also King Charles. Now the King of UK, he has his ascendant in Pusha. So I want to emphasize maybe with this work and with this presentation that we should not be of the misconception that Pusha is all about being soft and nurturing, because there's really this the doshas Pitta and the caste is Kshatriya. So there's really these teaching abilities, this strictness to is this rulership, because you are a teacher, you are raising children, you are taking care of elders. So sometimes you have to have this kind of kshatriya nature, and that's why the sages gave it also the caste kshatriya. So it is a very interesting observation. So yeah, that was it for me. And I will see you in the next video. The Instagram account is linked. It's slowly growing. I added my personal Facebook for people to follow me on Facebook. I'm still doing the consultations on the Zoom. It's going very nice. I'm helping people, sharing the knowledge. And the YouTube channel is growing, which is also very nice. So please give it a like, subscribe to the channel. And I'm also building a website at the moment. So I think I will, in the next few months, because I'm also having my job, will publish the new website, which is very nice, and publish some works, especially with interesting facts of astrology, and also to make it kind of more accessible to book or apply for a donation consultation. I don't work with prices because I feel like many people say I have to put on a price on a website, but I kind of believe in the concept of yagya. Um, and I also want to make Vedic astrology accessible for everybody, because certain prices just go through the roof of these astrologers. And I can imagine why, because once you have a big community, you cannot just consult everybody, I guess, and that's why they're raising the prices. So for me, it's still my hobby, and I'm very much in a service mood to share this knowledge with everybody. Uh, and whenever I can help somebody as a devotee or as a rich man or a poor man, it's just with the concept of donations according to your circumstances. So that was it, a little bit of information, because many people ask me how much do I need to pay, and if I want this and that. So I work with the concept of donation just to make it clear. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and yeah, the next one I will do a more detailed analysis on the new moon eclipse, which is coming. So it's quite interesting. So see you in the next video.